नमस्कार मित्रों, आप सुन रहे हैं करंट अफेयर्स फ्रॉम विजन ऑफ रिवीजन। ये करंट अफेयर्स 18 अप्रैल 2023 के हैं। विजन ऑफ रिवीजन के करंट अफेयर्स में आप सभी का बहुत बहुत स्वागत है। वेरी फर्स्ट रिपोर्ट फ्रॉम करंट अफेयर्स ऑफ 18 अप्रैल 2023। Olkiluoto 3 nuclear reactor. Finland's next generation Olkiluoto 3 nuclear reactor, the largest in Europe, has gone into regular production. Olkiluoto 3 nuclear reactor is an European pressurized water reactor located in Finland. It is built by the French-led Areva Siemens consortium. It is the most powerful nuclear reactor in Europe with a capacity of generating 1,600 megawatts. It covers approximately 14% of Finland's electricity demand. Epstein-Barr virus, the very next report. A recent study shows that Epstein-Barr virus, that is primarily spread through saliva, can evolve into cancer. Epstein-Barr virus is one of the most common human viruses in the world, as shown in picture above. It spreads through bodily fluids, especially saliva, spit. What are the symptoms of this particular Epstein-Barr virus? Symptoms are fatigue, fever, inflamed throat, swollen lymph nodes in the neck, enlarged spleen, swollen liver, rashes. EBV can cause infectious mononucleosis, also called mono, and other illnesses. There is no vaccine to protect against EBV infection. G7 ministers meet, the very next report. The G7 countries pledged to quit fossil fuels faster and urged other countries to follow suit but failed to agree to any new deadlines on ending polluting power sources like coal. G7 is an intergovernmental organization of leading industrialized nations formed in 1975. Member countries of G7: Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, the United Kingdom, and the United States. It meets annually to discuss issues such as global economic governance, international security, and energy policy. The host of the G7 summit, also known as the presidency, rotates annually among member countries. It was formerly referred to as the G8 until Russia was suspended from the group in 2014 after annexing Crimea. As of 2022, G7 countries make up 10% of world's population, 31% of the global GDP, and 21% of global carbon dioxide emissions. Garalai new species, the very next report. Researchers from the Central University of Odisha and the Geological Survey of India have recently found a rare freshwater fish in Koraput district. Garalai is a new cyprinid fish species of the Gara genus found in the Kolab River. These are characterized by the presence of a gular disc developed from tissues of the gular region that exhibit variation in the size, shape, and arrangement of the snout tubercles. It is usually found under rocks, stones, and boulders of torrential streams and rivers. Geographical distribution: Borneo, southern China, and southern Asia through Middle East Asia, Arabian Peninsula, and East Africa to West Africa. Polar crown prominences, the very next report. An Argentina-based astronomer captured a structure that looked like a wall of plasma on the surface of the sun, as shown in picture above. Polar crown prominences are similar to normal solar prominences, which are loops of plasma or ionized gas that is ejected from the solar surface by magnetic fields. They occur near the sun's magnet poles at latitudes between 60 and 70 degrees north and south. Due to the much stronger magnetic fields near the poles, they collapse back towards the sun. This collapse back to the sun has earned them the nickname plasma waterfalls. Solar prominence is a large bright feature extended outward from the sun's surface. These are anchored to the sun's surface in the photosphere and extend outwards into the sun's hot outer atmosphere called the corona. It forms over timescales of about a day, and stable prominences may persist in the corona for several months, looping hundreds of thousands of miles into space. The red glowing lobed material is plasma, a hot gas comprised of electrically charged hydrogen and helium. FAO, Food and Agriculture Organization report, the very next report. The Food and Agriculture Organization has released a report titled The Status of Women in Agri-Food Systems, highlighting the importance of gender equality in the agricultural sector. Key highlights of the report. Women make up a significant proportion of the agricultural workforce, accounting for around 40% of the global agricultural labor force. However, women often face important gender biased barriers that limit their access to resources, technology, and markets, which can impact their productivity and income. Even though women have gained more access to some resources, such as digital technology and financial services, over the last several years, the gaps are either unchanged or growing in far too many areas, especially for rural women. Since the outbreak of COVID 19, the gap between women's and men's food security has grown to 4.3%, with significantly higher food insecurity among rural women. Despite the importance of agri-food systems for women's livelihoods and welfare of their families, women's roles tend to be marginalized and their working conditions are likely to be worse than men's: irregular, informal, part-time, low-skilled, labor-intensive, and thus vulnerable. Food and Agriculture Organization. Food and Agriculture Organization is a specialized agency of the United Nations that led international efforts to defeat hunger. World Food Day is celebrated every year around the world on 16th of October. The day is celebrated to mark the anniversary of the founding of Food and Agriculture Organization in 1945. It is one of the UN food aid organizations based in Rome, Italy. Its sister bodies are the World Food Programme and the International Fund for Agriculture Development. World Chagas Disease Day 2023. The very next report. The World Health Organization observes World Chagas Disease Day every April 14th to raise the awareness about the little known disease that affects millions of people, especially in Latin America. The 72nd World Health Assembly dedicated this day to the disease in 2019. This year's theme is Time to Integrate Chagas disease into primary health care. Chagas disease, also known as silent or silenced disease, is a communicable parasitic disease that infects 6 to 7 million people and claims around 12,000 lives every year worldwide, according to WHO. The disease is named after physician Carlos Chagas, who first detected it in a Brazilian child in 1909. It is caused by the protozoan Trypanosoma cruzi, transmitted by a family of bugs called triatomines or kissing bugs that infect healthy individuals through bites or defecation. It can also be contracted through congenial, conge- congenital transmission, blood transfusions, organ transplantation, consumption of uncooked food contaminated with fecal matter of infected bugs, or accidental laboratory exposure. It cannot propagate by causal contact with infected humans or animals. Symptoms: the disease manifests as fever, headaches, rashes, inflammatory nodules, nausea or diarrhea, and muscle or abdominal pain. 70 to 80% of patients show no symptoms throughout their lives, making early detection challenging. 20 to 30% of infections evolve into the chronic stage, causing damaging to the heart, digestive system, or nervous system. Magnet Magnetoresistance. Magnetoresistance. The very next report. The researchers in the UK have found that graphene displays an anomalous giant magnetoresistance (GMR) at room temperature. Magnetoresistance is a phenomenon where the electrical resistance of a conductor is affected by magnetic fields in adjacent materials. When the materials are magnetized in the same direction, the electrical resistance in the conductor is low. When the directions are opposite each other, the resistance increases. The magnetoresistance observed in the graphene based device was found to be almost 100 times higher than that observed in other non sentimentals in this magnetic field range. It is used in hard disk drives and magnetoresistive RAM in computers, biosensors, automotive sensors, micro electromechanical systems, and medical imagers. GMR based devices are particularly used to sense magnetic fields. Global Conference on Compressed Biogas. The very next report. The Global Conference on Compressed Biogas is to be held in New Delhi soon. Global Conference on Compressed Biogas is organized by the Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas. The theme of the conference is Towards Progressive Policy Framework for a Robust CBG Foundation and Growth. Now, what are the objectives? The objectives are to appraise the industry regarding the initiative taken by the Government of India for the development of compressed biogas industry and to identify the areas where policy modifications are required. India is dedicated to achieve a net zero target by 2070, and the government has taken several initiatives to reduce emissions. Compressed biogas has higher calorific value and properties similar to CNG. It can be utilized as alternative green renewable and can replace CNG in automotive, industrial, and commercial areas given the abundance of biomass availability within the country. The discussion will focus on the feedstock availability, CBG offtake, fermented organic manure, carbon credits, incentives, investment, and financing for the CBG industry and biofuel policies of different states, including CBG producers on state policies and international experiences. TERI NAMA facility, we can call it TERI. TERI NAMA facility, Dutz Gezel for International Zoo Salmon Bite GmbH and LCB form Low Carbon Biofuel Forum Greece are the institutional partners. Indian Oil Corporation, Verbio India, Canara Bank, Indian Oil Adani Ventures Limited, IAV Biogas, SBI Capital, SIDBI, Praj Industries, and Machine Nan Fabric Bernard Kron GmbH are also supporting this conference. Friends, this is all about the 18th April 2023 current affairs. Friends, ये सभी करंट अफेयर्स मैं वीकली आप लोगों को दूंगी, एज प्रोबेबली every Saturday, for the whole week, right? So please watch these current affairs from Vision of Revision, and make like, share and subscribe my channel as more as possible. Thank you. Have a blessed